Typhoon Koinu buffets Taiwan with record winds and torrential rain. Mourning the fallen, as the remains of 4 firefighters who died in a Pingtung factory fire begin their final journey. Japan releases more treated water from the Fukushima nuclear plant, but what does that mean for Taiwan? From the ground to the cloud, we look at how virtual power plants could be one solution to Taiwan's energy supply issues. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Inka Vat. Typhoon Koinu is currently sweeping through the south of Taiwan. As Leslie Liao explains, the storm has brought quite a bit of damage to the country's center and south.
Typhoon Koinu made landfall in Taiwan at 8:20 a.m. on Thursday. Then, around 10 minutes later, it went back out to sea. While the storm's center only made momentary contact, its impact will last much longer than that. The storm reportedly brought gusts of up to 342 kilometers per hour on the outlying Lanyu island. If confirmed, that would be one of the top 5 fastest wind speeds ever recorded on Earth.
台风的内部有一些非常小型的龙卷风啦，或者是特别旺盛的这个对流经过这个情况那风向又刚好的这个情形底下呢，就产生了一个这么剧烈的一个风速。
In anticipation of the typhoon's arrival, all but 4 of Taiwan's 22 major counties and cities announced closures for school and work. Ferry and air services were halted also. The typhoon hit the country's south especially hard. Even before the worst of the storm had come, strong winds started blowing tiles off the sides of buildings and uprooted trees. In central Taiwan, gusts were so strong they caused a street lamp to come off its base. And in the east, debris blew into a channel, filling a sea gate that leads into the ocean. Meanwhile, meters-high waves battered the coast. During this, thousands of people lost power. Koinu means puppy in Japanese. While that name may not evoke intimidating images, the destruction the typhoon has left behind in its wake proves that this storm has quite the bite. Joseph Wu and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
People in the south are mourning 4 firefighters killed in a factory fire. But anger over the safety violations that may have led to the disaster isn't going away. John Van Trieste has the latest.
A final salute. People in Pingtung lined the streets in a spontaneous show of support as the local fire department honors its latest fallen heroes. Last month, firefighters rushed into a burning factory filled with dangerous chemicals. 4 of them were among the 10 people killed when it exploded. It's emerged that the factory may have violated regulations by holding 30 times the amount of chemicals it was supposed to. Firefighters, angry with violations like these, are pushing to form a union that will pressure the government to enforce safety laws. There have been confrontations with officials. But today, anger has given way to grief.
现在是一个很艰难的时刻，那心情上面或者是请业务上面，那我想守护市民或县民的安全的话，还是我们的天职所在。那我会尽力的协助所有的同仁恢复到工作的正轨。
那平2分队是我们这4位消防队员，他们原来的工作的场域，他们也是背负着平2分队的荣誉。
News that 16 more of the 100 injured factory workers are out of intensive care hasn't dulled fury at safety violations. The factory owner's failure to report its dangerous chemicals led to this tense moment in the legislature between a lawmaker and the head of the economy ministry, the government agency that was in charge of inspecting the factory.
你看到经济部的责任在哪里？不是听到你在推卸责任。
A final memorial is scheduled for Friday, and firefighters say they're going to rally in Taipei to demand change as the country marks National Day next week. Howard Zhang and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
One of Taiwan's biggest public holidays is coming up. Organizers have just given a first look at what this year's National Day celebrations will look like. Joyce Zhang reports.
Taiwan has just revealed the rundown to this year's National Day event. It's one of the country's biggest public holidays, and people tune in and even show up outside of the presidential office to catch a glimpse of massive parades and the fanfare here in Taipei. Now, one of the main events is the president's speech, and this is President Tsai Ing-wen's last chance to address the country on the occasion. She's reaching her two-term limit and is on her way out of office. Now, normally a section of the speech is dedicated to talking about Taiwan's relationship with China, which, of course, is a tense one. Now, this year's event has already seen some political tension. Just a few days ago, a former president has said that he will be boycotting this year's event, saying that he does not agree with the branding of Taiwan National Day, alluding to the absence of Taiwan's official name, the Republic of China. Now, the head of the planning committee has just addressed this and seemingly hit out at former President Ma Ying-jeou, saying that the naming convention is actually not new and is to the benefit of international viewers who might not know the difference.
你不要打自己的脸，好不好？那国际大家都知道，有台湾分不清楚中华民国啊。
But after making the comments, the organizers moved swiftly on, choosing to focus on this year's performance highlights for people to look forward to. That includes international support by way of marching bands. Notably, Japan will be making a return to join in this year's event, and for the first time ever, so will the U.S. The U.S. will be represented by the University of California, Los Angeles. The Bruin Marching Band will be showcasing their sound here in Taipei, and it's clear that the planning committee is eager to make sure that the big day runs smoothly without a hitch. Joseph Wu and Joyce Sun in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Meanwhile, celebrations have already begun at Taiwan's representative office in the U.S. Capitol. Our reporter Jaime Ocon was at the event in Washington, D.C.
Happy 112th National Day of the Republic of China, Taiwan. Cheers!
The party is on here at the Twin Oaks Estate just outside of downtown Washington, D.C. Now, Taiwan is celebrating its National Day just a bit earlier, as its actual day is on October 10th. I spoke to some of the organizers, and they said the reason for that is to not take away from any of the celebrations going on in Taiwan. Speaking at the event were several U.S. and Taiwan officials, including Taiwan's representative to the U.S., Xiaobi Kim. She reminded people here of the importance of Taiwan to the international community.
Over the past few years, Taiwan has shown the international community that even while staring down threats and harassment, we will neither yield nor provoke. If Taiwan is secure, the world will also be more secure.
But speeches were kept short so that partygoers could get to the abundance of Taiwanese food and drinks available here. With the celebration just a few days away back in Taiwan, this event is a chance to bring those festivities and a little bit of Taiwan here to the U.S. Devin Tai, Eric Tai, and Jaime Ocon in Washington, D.C. for TaiwanPlus.
The Taiwan People's Party's presidential candidate has met with overseas Chinese communities in the United States. Ko Wen-je is on a 4-day trip to the west coast of the U.S., where he visited the Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association. This organization is predominantly anti-communist and traditionally supports Taiwan's Kuomintang or KMT. But some now say the KMT should join forces with Ko's party to defeat the ruling Democratic Progressive Party.
要打败民进党的话，有一个问题是我们蓝白合作才有希望。
Japan is dumping more wastewater from its wrecked Fukushima power plant into the ocean. The release is expected to last 17 days. It's the second batch of treated water to be released after the first one in August and September. Japan says the water is safe, with most radioactive particles removed, and any left have been diluted to international standards. But neighboring countries have protested the release, saying it threatens the environment. Here in Taiwan, there are public concerns over the mildly radioactive water, and experts are trying to put people's minds at ease. Eric Gao has more.
Japan's government is dumping more treated water from the ruined Fukushima nuclear plant into the Pacific. Its first release was in August and September, despite protests from some of its neighbors. They say they're concerned about the long-term impact on human health and the environment. Here in Taiwan, simulations from the Nuclear Safety Commission show the water could reach the country's shores in about 4 years. But local experts say there's no cause for concern. Japan's wastewater, they say, is no more dangerous than that produced by Taiwan's own nuclear reactors.
我们自己的核三厂排的就比福岛电厂多60%嘛，而且已经排了快40年了嘞，所以安全是绝对没有问题。那台电公司评估出来的报告哈，它对民众造成的最大剂量，比我们吃一根香蕉的钾4死的剂量还要再低50倍。
International and Taiwanese experts say the treated water falls well within the safety standards, but some people are concerned about a few isotopes that are harder to detect and have longer half-lives, meaning they could stay longer in the body and in the environment.
我们并不是觉得当下这个水就是有毒的，并不是，而是我们谈的是长期的累积。当它排放那么久之后，在海洋环境累积的东西是一定会被明确监测到的，这是我们当然担心的，这是全球首例，也是环境未知的巨大风险。
That unknown is a major concern for Taiwan's fishing industry. The discharged water is expected to head directly to the fishing grounds of Taiwan's sorry fishing fleet.
我常讲说，科学的数据是安心的，但是不等同于民众的。
The fishing industry has been helping the government monitor radiation levels to help calm concerns over the impact on seafood.
在前2年，工会就所有会员就有持续配合做一个海水的一个检测。今年我们每一艘渔船都会配合渔业署做100%的一个检测。
Once the fishing boats collect the data, the government releases it to the public. They try to simplify the results to make them easy to understand.
像我们的扩散预报就有把它转变成红绿灯。那如果是绿灯的状况，也就是都是在远低于就是也都是在目前的这个背景的范围，就是目前的就是安全的范围。
Japan will discharge treated water from Fukushima for the next 30 years. That means experts and industries here in Taiwan may have to keep working for a long time to ease people's concerns. Chris Ma, Pichi Zhuang, Kate Wong, and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
After the break, global trade sees a new battle emerge. China and the EU spar over electric vehicles.
This month's top hits on TaiwanPlus. Join our live coverage and celebrate freedom and diversity with us. 112th National Day of the Republic of China. A brilliant documentary series on arts and culture takes you behind the scenes of the island's most incredible performances. Masterclass.
We start looking at our own culture, our own food.
Seeking a unique sensory experience? Embark on a culinary journey with renowned chefs. The taste of life. Get ready to be moved by exceptional individuals who perfected their crafts despite challenges. Standing strong. Vibrant and original programs. Exclusively on TaiwanPlus.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Taiwan's currency has dropped to its lowest level against the US dollar in 7 years. The new Taiwan dollar fell to 32.328 against the greenback, depreciating by 0.091 NT from the day before. The head of the central bank says he can intervene if it drops further, but does not intend to yet. Taiwan is an export-led economy, and a weak currency keeps its markets attractive to importers. But lawmakers are worried adjustments might only make things worse.
也要注意哦，美国那边联准会对于如果你调节的超过一定的程度之后，它是会把你列为那个。
Inflation in Taiwan was close to 3% in September, an 8-month high. Government figures show the Consumer Price Index, a key measure of inflation, was up 2.93% year on year. Food prices rose the most, at close to 5%, as typhoon weather in September forced up the price of fresh produce. A research team is turning a potentially harmful byproduct from making pickles into useful fertilizer. Laura Stewart has more.
A local delicacy in the making. The town of Taipei in central Taiwan's Yunlin County is celebrated nationwide for its pickled mustard greens. But the pickling process produces waste that needs careful handling. These vats, filled with water left over from fermentation, are a cause of headaches for locals. The leftover liquid can't just be poured out, as the salty water could make the land infertile. Currently, the residue is processed by evaporation and crystallization, but even with the help of government subsidies, the treatment process is extremely expensive. But now a research team from National Taiwan University has found the unwanted waste product can be recycled for a useful purpose. It can be turned into fertilizer and then used to grow algae and other plants that are essential to fish farming.
把这个废水可以造成有用的一个营养源，循环再利用。那目前透过这套技术，可以把废水做成易肥，就是这种所谓的生物循环再利用的一个技术。然后我们是希望以云林县为建立一个技术的平台，还有希望以结合云林县的这些农渔业，然后建立一个释放的场域，然后希望透过这种所谓的资源循环再利用方式，帮助到所谓的渔民，他们让产品做价值。
By dealing with their wastewater problems while adding value to another area of local agriculture, the researchers are very much helping the town of Taipei out of a pickle. Andy Shuer and Laurel Stewart for TaiwanPlus.
Bringing energy from the ground to the cloud, Taiwan is exploring new ways to reach its net zero and renewable energy goals. One possible solution is virtual power plants. Jeremy Olivier explains.
With a population of over 23 million and one of the world's biggest tech manufacturing industries, Taiwan has some serious energy needs. But it's having more and more trouble meeting that growing demand for power. The country is extremely reliant on energy imports, its grid is faltering, and it only has a limited amount of land to keep building power stations and wind and solar farms. In the search to help overcome these energy woes, one solution being put forward is virtual power plants, or VPPs. At a recent forum hosted by the Industrial Technology Research Institute, or ITRI, energy experts discuss how these systems could help plug up the power supply gap.
它事实上是整合的不同的分散能源，包括你的发电就是再生能源，或是储电storage， 那也有就是虚量反应，也就是说你可以减少用电。其实减少用电就好像增加发电，事实上是一样的。
So how exactly does a VPP work? Compared with large physical plants, virtual power stations are cloud-based networks of smaller energy-producing or storage devices. Think things like wind farms, batteries, even electric vehicles. These components are connected and remotely controlled by Internet of Things technology. The energy they produce is pooled together and sent out to the electric grid. Besides reducing consumption, proponents say this kind of system could increase renewable energy usage and secure the power supply in places that are vulnerable to natural disasters, like Taiwan. It's also touted as a sustainable way of producing electricity.
以它参加的容量来看的话，大概就等同于我们现在一部核能机组。那未来这个量会继续再增加，一个厂商它进来，那实际上的量更多。
And the idea has been gaining ground. In 2020, the Taiwan Power Company partnered with energy service provider NLX to launch the country's first VPP. Since then, numerous businesses have joined it, including electric scooter maker Gogoro, which dedicated over 1,000 of its battery charging stations to the network. But not all are keen on the idea. Yang Jiafa, an energy specialist who supports the use of nuclear power, says a major issue is the inconsistent output of renewable energy.
台湾因为现在越来越多的再生能源，
变成我们需要使用大量的储能，或是说类似这种虚拟电厂好了来去平衡它，因为再生能源的供需很难控制的，就是它不是一个可以受控制的能源。
Still, there seems to be more enthusiasm than skepticism for VPPs. And as Taiwan continues to look for ways to achieve its goal of net zero emissions by 2050, these networks may become one of the major tools in its toolkit. Chris Ma and Jeremy Olivier for TaiwanPlus.
The European Commission has launched an investigation into the export of Chinese electric vehicles into Europe. But as Rosie Grenenja reports, there's concerns the probe could prompt a trade war with China.
These electric cars from China are now the subject of a formal probe in Europe to find out if the Chinese government is subsidising their manufacturers. If proved, extra tariffs could be imposed on China's products imported to Europe. And China has bit back.
中方再次就欧盟将对中国电动汽车发起反补贴调查，表达高度的关切和强烈的不满。
The investigation comes amid Brussels' fears Beijing's exports are affecting European automotive companies' ability to compete, and warnings global markets are being flooded by affordable Chinese electric vehicles. The EU says these cars are hurting the European industry.
Europe is open to competition, but not for a race to the bottom. We must defend ourselves against unfair practices.
But China says competition is good for the market, and electric cars are good for Europe's climate goals.
希望欧方慎重从事，继续保持市场自由开放，这对欧洲消费者有利，对欧洲绿色低碳发展有利，对全球气候变化合作有利。
China has been invited to participate in the investigation, but its officials say the investigation is based on subjective assumptions, lacks sufficient evidence, and breaks World Trade Organization rules. And China's Association of Automobile Manufacturers has also responded, calling the probe an obvious act of protectionism that would hinder the growth of the global EV industry. The latest action by the EU has sparked fears of a full-scale trade war between Europe and China, if China decides to hit back with trade sanctions.
Thank you very much.
And experts say this could be likely.
The experience of the previous anti-subsidy probe, which the European Commission launched in 2012 with regards to Chinese manufactured solar panels, shows us that the Chinese state is capable of initiating a full-scale trade war.
It is now down to the European Commission to prove whether the Chinese government has given their car manufacturers an unfair advantage. And if so, nations in Europe may be forced to re-examine their relationship with China. Patrick Chen and Rosie Grenenja for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's top boxer Gan Jiawei bagged a silver medal at the Asian Games in China this week, but he didn't get a chance to fight for the gold because of an injury. Our reporter Sandy Chi explains what happened.
Taiwanese boxer Gan Jiawei showing his wound to his coach, Chen Zhixiang, the man who pushed him to take up boxing years ago. Gan was originally set to compete in the finals in the men's 63.5 to 71 kilogram weight class at the Asian Games in Hangzhou, China. But he was ruled out of Wednesday night's gold medal bout because of his eyebrow injury and ended up taking home silver. Gan was injured during his semi-final match against Turkmenistan's Bayram Dirty Nurmuhamedov on Tuesday. He continued bleeding throughout the match and eventually won by a 4-1 decision.
然后早上去过磅体检的时候，体检那边没有过。 这个医生说太肿了，然后不给比赛这样子，很遗憾，非常遗憾，对，就觉得很难免就会有伤嘛，就是在比赛中，但是就是很想打冠军战嘛。
Since becoming a silver medalist, Gan has seen his profile skyrocket, but his boxing career hasn't been an easy one. He was originally a volleyball player. Until his first coach Chen saw boxing potential in him. Gan began dedicating his time and effort to boxing in senior high school. For his early international tournaments, he pushed himself hard and trained relentlessly. In the lead up to the Asian Games, Gan had to lose weight and compete in a different weight class. But during this period, he lost his mother, which had a major impact on his life. Though it was a difficult time, he kept going and focusing on his training, which has finally paid off. Gan didn't get the chance to go for gold at this year's tournament, but he still walks away as an Asian Games medalist and already secured a place at the Paris 2024 Summer Olympics. Kamashu and Sanichi for TaiwanPlus.
More medals for Taiwan at the Asian Games. Teenager Wang Youjun took gold in the men's speed skating, beating China's Zhang Hao. Teammate Huang Pingrui took bronze. Taiwan's women's archery team also won a silver medal, losing out to India. Earlier, there was a gold for Liu Qiaoxi in the women's inline freestyle skating finals, while teammate Ding Yuan took bronze. Tarama Ahmadi from Iran got the silver. In boxing, Chen Nianqing added a bronze medal in her category, losing to Yang Liu from China. Meanwhile, Lai Juan won a silver for the men, bested by Batasuk Chinzorig from Mongolia. Taiwan also took silver in the men's team soft tennis event, with the gold claimed by Japan. On the medals table, China is ranked first, followed by Japan and South Korea. Taiwan, competing as Chinese Taipei, remains in 6th place with 14 gold, 15 silver and 22 bronze medals. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Finally today, we leave you with more images of Typhoon Koinu's effects across Taiwan. I'm Inkavat. Take care and see you next time.